this week's podcast.
It's my turn to talk about Star Wars. Woohoo!
I talk about the Doctor Who Christmas Day special.
What you need is a jolly good smack bottom.
And Gareth tries to convince me to watch Bright.
Stay tuned. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers, geeks alike. It's the new year!
Yay!
Welcome to our first podcast of the new year. And as you can hear, I've got Nigel with me. Say hello, Nigel.
Hello, Nigel. And
Couldn't
you lot.
get Keith with me because his mobility scooter broke down.
Yeah, for some reason he has a mobility scooter in his flat. I don't know how he gets it in or out. That's a feat in itself. I don't know. He must carry it upstairs.
He does. He's so fat. He brought it over from Thailand. I think it's a voltage issue, I'll be honest with you. I think that he hasn't set it up for the 240 volts that you get in this country. But hey ho, we'll just battle on without him. So, the first year of the podcast, and we're going to go back and visit Star Wars again. And Nigel, because Nigel's now seen it, is going to give... Yes, he has. The world's slowest man has finally got around to seeing Star Wars in the week that it all drops off. So I imagine the cinema wasn't as full as you'd imagine. Nah,
it wasn't that bad. And we've now got 2 cinemas in my town, so even more choice. Cineworld. And an Odeon.
I know you got the Odeon because we went and watched Planet of the Apes.
We
at
did
the Odeon.
Yeah.
Where's Cineworld?
It's in the main town centre now.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Near the food area.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you're going to talk about Star Wars. I'm going to talk about Doctor Who. And then we'll talk. And then I'll talk a bit about Bright and try and see if I can persuade Nigel to watch Bright on Netflix, because I think it's interesting. There's a few things in there. We'll get round to that, and maybe we'll just shoot the shit a bit towards the end. So, Nigel, we really fucked up the Star Wars podcast last week.
So I heard.
Yeah, well, it comes down to 2 things. One,
Keith.
Yeah, Keith was the main one, and the other one.
And what was it? Was it Keith?
No, I didn't have time to go through and trim the fucking thing down. So
who does?
So
you might as well just gone right. Start at the beginning of Star Wars segment, start at the end, and delete.
Yeah.
Not being too critical.
So anyone who listened to the entire Star Wars podcast, because I've listened to it in the mixing studio, but I never got around to fucking editing it, and it needed to go out. You deserve a medal, and I'd like to say thank you just to start.
We salute you.
Yeah, we do. We salute you. Just imagine the ceremony at the end of the first Star Wars film. Yeah, you're up there getting the medal.
Yeah, that's you, baby.
That's you. Thank you very much. You're
well done.
Really good people.
Pat yourself on the back.
As I said before, Nigel's seen Star Wars, and we're going to get Nigel's perspective from it, which I'm hoping is a damn sight fucking coherent than mine and Keith's perspective.
So, let me start off by saying I went to see the film with my 2 young kids, who are both under 10. Well, one's 10, one's not. He's just under. They love Star Wars. They love every Star Wars film that has come out recently, and all the old ones as well. They're proper into it. They play Battlefront and Battlefront 2. I only got Battlefront 2 because of them. I don't like it, but hey ho. So I went to see that on the weekend, and they came out and they really liked the film. They actually loved it. So they can't really pin it down, but I think they loved it because it was an action film, and they don't really take into consideration what happened before and all that sort of stuff. As a film on its own, if it has no context around it, like the universe and what they call canon, I think it is a good film on its own. On its own.
I don't even think it's a good film on its own. Come on,
as
then,
a
justify
standalone.
You've made an outrageous statement as far as I'm concerned.
I know.
I think you should justify it to our listeners.
Yes. Now, if you know, I know a lot less about Star Wars than what Gareth and Keith do, and they would both pull me up on items a lot, and to actually explain a lot. However, there were certain things in that film that, while I was watching, I just decided to take it as it was, which was meant to be a story about Star Wars. That's all I took it as, and I was just watching it, with my kids. So I was trying not to be critical, but there was something that was bugging me, and I came out of that going, I don't actually want to see that again. That was my initial reaction as I walked out of the film. I don't actually want to see that again. Whereas when I watched Rogue One and when I watched The Force Awakens, I went, do you know what? I don't mind when I see that again. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week or whatever. I don't mind. But with this one, I'm in literally no hurry whatsoever to see it again, because for me, after thinking about it, there was a few things that were bugging me, and it's a bit too much. Not as in I'm fucking, oh god, it's the worst shit ever. It's just you just wonder sometimes when they're going through the storyboard and they're pitching the story to the execs, the Disney execs, and whoever making the decisions, how they go, yeah, that's perfect, yeah, that's great, that will really appease all the fans and bring new ones in. You just wonder that. I don't know where to start, really.
Go on, just pick something randomly, because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff to go through.
There was some. Let's start where the film finished in The Force Awakens, and that's with Luke. We should start there, because what I was hoping for, and I may be a little bit naive in thinking this, but I was hoping that Luke, on being given the microphone, the microphone, it looked like a microphone, did it?
Go on, Luke, sing us a ballad. It turned into a fucking musical.
To take the lightsaber, hold it to his gob, and start busting out "Life Will Go On" by Celine Dion. But I was not expecting him to just take the thing, look at it, and then chuck it over his shoulder off the cliff. Because at no point in the previous films has he ever behaved like that.
No, it's very true that he hasn't behaved like that. I found it really odd, considering that someone had went to Bespin and fucking rescued that from the garbage. Yeah, because that went down the hole with his hand. So not only have they got the lightsaber back, they also got his hand back too. Yeah,
the hand somewhere. Well, it's probably disintegrated by now.
Oh no,
just bone.
Maybe that's how he's coming back. He's been cloned. He's going to come back as a hand.
Yeah. Thinking about it, yeah. And okay, the fact that he's on an island on his own didn't bug me at all. I thought, do you know what? Yeah, thinking about it, Yoda did exactly the same. That was technically his master, because he trained him. Yoda didn't need much encouragement either, did he? He just went ahead and did it in his own crazy Yoda way that you see in that film, in the first film.
Yeah.
First ever. And also, Ben Kenobi. Yeah, he was out being a loner. However, there is substance to that, because he was watching over Luke. Which, to be fair to the prequels, they tell you that. They tell you the reason why he's out there on his own, and he's looking over Luke, making sure he grows up to be a lovely young man. Yeah. And all the principles that the people who he lived with and grew up with, I can't remember the names, the farmers.
Well, Aunt Veru and Uncle Pete, I can't remember his name. I don't remember. Yeah. Aunt Veru was the only one I remember.
Dave, I don't know.
Dave, yes, Dave and Veru.
And I think there was a sister as well, but the principles that they gave him, and you could see they gave him growing up as a young man. growing up like that, you don't tend to change your principles as you get a bit older, do you?
No.
They sort of tend to stick with you, and especially for people who have died and stuff like that. So him being on an island by himself didn't bug me at all. What bugged me was the fact that the first person who found him, who told him the situation of the universe and stuff like that, Luke in the old days, in the older films, would have gone, fuck yeah, I'm up for that.
Yes.
Whereas he's like, no, fuck off, what are you doing here? Get the fuck off my island. He was the moodiest fucking git. It was almost like, I pictured him like a bearded
Nigel,
Joker.
it was you. He would have been better as a Joker, actually. It would have been better as a Joker, because you've done that really creepy fucking voice.
And he can. And yeah, I was expecting him to talk like that, because the way he reacted was pretty much like that. It was like I couldn't care, I want to see the world burn, sort of thing. And Luke was always about the good side. So him being on the thing by himself didn't matter. Them making him seem like a bitter, crazy old man did kind of... Just, at first I was thinking, oh, he's crazy because he's there by himself and he's gone a little bit nuts. A little bit like Yoda. He was by himself in his he's gone a bit nuts because he's not by himself. He's got cleaners.
Yeah, he has got cleaners. It's like that. It's like
where the fuck have they come from? Oh, they're the cleaners. What? So you do have somebody there, so you can't be going nuts. Okay. And they made him look even crazier by drinking that fucking blue milk.
No, green milk. It was
green?
Green milk from the teat of some sea cow.
It was...
Dude, that was wrong. That was so wrong.
Half elephant, half giraffe, half whale. I don't know.
Mate,
and the teats are sitting there for him. You just... We said this before, right? I don't mind them insinuating that, you know, he walks up and goes, oh, I'm running a bit low, and then he looks down at, you know, he's looking at his water bottle or his milk bottle. He gives it a shake and goes, oh, running a bit low, and he looks down at this sea fucking cow thing and goes, I need to top up, and it'll be obvious because the teats are there, because it's... And she'll look at him and go, ugh, and he goes, don't judge me, it's all I've got for milk over here. He would look less fucking crazy. But they made it look like... They made him look like he was fucking salivating.
Now I think about it, they could have done 3 steps of crazy in that. What they could have done is they could have started off with the milking, yeah? He could have drunk the milk, yeah? And then he could have, could have then disappeared behind a rock and did a big shit. Done this big fucking steaming turd, yeah?
And then she's about to walk round and he uses the force to stop her and he goes, wait, not finished. I
was then going to say that he then goes back to his hut and starts whacking one off. Yeah? And it's like, what the hell's going on here?
You're the first girl I've seen in ages.
You know, I kissed my sister, don't you?
It was passionate too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. So, yeah, there was that. There was sort of the whole thing we discover later in the film that the reason why he doesn't give a shit is because he apparently detected that Kylo Ren, when he was his apprentice, was going to... he had darkness within him, and he was going to kill Kylo in his sleep. Well, I'm sorry, Luke is the epitome of good, and that would mean that he's no longer the epitome of good, and he himself has been moved to the dark side because killing someone in cold blood is a dark side act.
See, I part of that could have been fucking Snoke, yeah? And they could have played on the fact that Snoke was manipulating Kylo Ren from a distance to separate him from Luke, yeah? And he also had a go at Luke and separated Luke. And the only place that he could get away from Snoke was on that fucking island.
Yeah.
That would have made a bit of sense.
Because he doesn't know where he is, so he can't. But the thing is, hang on. No, talking about that, Snoke still made a connection with Rey and Ben while Rey was on the island.
Okay, all right. It's gone out the fucking window.
So,
it would have made sense. It would have made perfect fucking sense.
Had they not done that.
It would have made perfect sense. Okay.
So, scratch that idea. But however, this all boils down to the fact that they, in order to fuel not one, but 2 movies, Force Awakens and this one, they've made Luke completely different character. That's off. I would have understood it if, like you said, you mentioned this to me, and I'm not going to take any credit to it. If Luke was on that island with the books that we saw, if Luke was on the island with those books that we saw, and he's been studying the books away from everyone, with no distractions, no universe fucking talking to his head, I agree. If he was there by himself doing that, studying day in, day out to try and defeat...
Yeah, but...
it would make sense.
Yeah, but the comment I made was that they should have gone into a big open room, and there should have been a library shelf full of books as far as the fucking eye could see. And he turns around and goes, I've only halfway got through these books. Some of them aren't very good.
Yeah. They're not page turners.
You would have turned around and gone, shit, and then he would have separated out the 5 books out of all the ones and said, these are the ones so far that I've read that have some fucking use.
These are the useful ones.
Yeah.
However, they turned him into a crazy about the books. When Rey left, they turned him into a crazy and like dancing like a fucking caveman outside the tree, about to burn it. Only for it not to be burned, and then a lightning bolt to fucking burn it or something.
But it didn't get burnt because Rey stole the books.
Yeah, Rey stole.
She stole the books. She's a fucking tea leaf.
Well, the thing is, what they don't... You've got light side, dark side. Light side was meant to be Luke, the epitome of light. Dark side was meant to be Darth Vader, wasn't it? Like, Now, really, to bring balance to the Force, you need somebody who is actually dead centre. Yeah,
which I thought Snoke was, because if you look in, we've had this conversation before, and if you look inside the little temple, there's a little mosaic of a dude who looks like Snoke in his gold robe, with a line down the middle, with black on one side and white on the light on the other side. And I thought that was Snoke. I thought that's what they're doing there. They're showing you Snoke there and then as an indicator that he has figured out if you balance the Force out, you're stronger. You are a lot stronger.
Yeah, because you can take elements from both sides.
Yeah.
And therefore, you have an advantage over both light and dark.
Yeah.
So you should be stronger.
Like if you watch... Hang on a second. If you watch the TV series Rebels, there's a character voiced by former Doctor Who guy, I can't remember his name, Tom Baker, I think it's called Bindu, and he's a user, and he can fuck an entire planet up if he wants, and he's like super powerful.
Yeah, so you never know. They what they might be doing is they might be setting Rey up to be that person who is perfectly balanced, because they showed the scene where Luke again behaved like an utter twat towards Rey when he finally decided to train her. And she saw darkness, and the moment she saw darkness, and he couldn't pull her out. Apparently, he couldn't pull her out.
Yeah.
All he did was shout at her.
Yeah, but she just saw like infinite reflections of herself. That's not really dark.
But that's when she went down there.
But
all it was a fucking hole in the floor on the island. That's what. And they were depicting that. It looked a bit like one of those. Is it a Snarlack thing? You know,
Sarlacc
in the
pit. You mean
Sarlacc pit? It looked a bit like that, but it wasn't. It's just a fucking rock. It made it sound a bit dark with the whispering shit. Made that sound dark, and he was saying that was dark. And yeah, everything that he'd shown in the way of attitude and aptitude was nowhere near light, was nowhere near kind, was actually towards the dark side himself.
Yeah.
being a twat to people. Not, you know, he himself is showing himself to be dark.
Okay.
So
just on that note, yeah, you know that Mark Hamill came out and turned around and went, "This isn't my Luke Skywalker." He turned around and said that when he read the scripts, he turned around and said to Rian Johnson, and he said, "Look, I disagree with this completely." Yeah. And then he turned around and went, "Well, I'll film it because it's, you know, I'm an actor, I'm paid to do these things, blah, blah, blah." He says, because I just imagine it's Jake Skywalker rather than Luke Skywalker. And it's funny because me and Keith had this argument. I said, the reason he's spouting off and saying it's not his Luke Skywalker is because he's probably not in the next film. And then I reckon they phoned him up and went, Mark, because Carrie Fisher's dead, we kind of need you to be in the next film. So know what you thought you weren't going to be in the next film at all. Yeah, that's going to happen now, and we're going to pay you, you know, millions of dollars. Can you shut up about not liking Star Wars: The Last Jedi, please? And he went, all right, and he posted a tweet, and I can't remember what he said, but he put the hashtag Humble Hamill
or something. Yeah. Like he came out.
No, he put the hashtag Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle.
There's a really good deal of video software at the moment for Windows users. Sorry.
So if we stick for a moment with Luke, there was a point that I haven't got there, but I made to you when we were on the phone. I thought it would have been far more epic near the ending.
Yeah. Near
the end of the film, where I legitimately thought Luke. I think they would, you know, made you think it as well. But Luke was at the battle.
Yeah, if he was
if he was literally at the battle. There was another thing that you told me that you think should have. I thought what Luke should have done is he should have walked out like he did.
Yeah.
In the flesh, not a fucking hologram, and walked out there, and then they're going, concentrate your fire. And Luke, being Luke, the fucking master, he's been reading the books like we discussed, but clearly didn't happen. He's read the books, learned a lot, and then, like Kylo Ren, can stop a fucking blaster shot.
Yeah.
Freeze it, you know. And he's just gone and stood there and gone, back your way, freeze you, move it, and then the dust settles, and then still Luke does the off the shoulder sweep like he did, because that was funny.
Yeah,
definitely worth keeping that in. And then they look at him and he looks at them, and he just, like in The Force Unleashed, the game, there was a CGI footage of the unknown apprentice or Starkiller, and he uses the Force to pull it out of the air. If that's a possible thing in canon, then Luke should have been able to just go and pull all those AT-ATs nose first down to the ground with a thud, go boom, and then point at the ship that Kylo Ren's in and gone, you, and then pull it down to the ground for him to get out. That would have shit everybody up who's fighting against him.
The other thing too,
everybody,
they could have
and he's not hurt a fly doing it.
Yeah, and the other thing too is what he could have done is when they did shoot at him, they should have said the dust rises up, and when it settles down, you can see clearly that there's a point where he's deflected all the blasts, so that there's like a circle where it's perfectly fucking untouched. Yeah. That would have been cool.
Created a sphere around him or something.
Because the other part of it was, for me, was like I wanted him to turn up in his old school X-Wing. And literally, he would have turned up in his old school X-Wing, especially when all the fighters had fucked off chasing the Millennium Falcon. Because they all could have gone and done like a Superman thing and gone, what's that? And it turns out it's him in the fighter. And you'd have gone, oh, now we're in fucking trouble. That would have been awesome, but...
Yeah. For him to just... And then the fight scene as well. It wasn't really a fight scene. It was hologram...
It was dodgy.
Luke versus...
He was doing the Matrix shit.
Yeah, he was doing Matrix shit, just dodging. And I'm going, why is he just dodgy. And then he just let him hit, and you go, okay. Oh, I know he's creating a distraction for these people to get out, and he's showing that he himself has the same power as, say, Snoke with that thought.
Yeah.
Because he was projecting himself not just to one person but to everybody who could see it.
Yeah.
So in that respect, yeah, he was probably more powerful than Snoke in that respect.
Sorry, just a quick aside, right?
Yeah.
On the planet Crate, fucking what a name. Gary Barlow, the UK lead singer of Take That, is one of the guys in the trench fighting the AT-ST and the guerrilla walkers. And here's the funny thing is, yeah, Tom Hardy was also in that scene, but they cut Tom Hardy and left Gary Barlow in.
Did they?
I'd have picked fucking Tom Hardy.
I didn't even notice him.
Well, Tom Hardy wasn't in there. No, it was just a quick
one. No, I didn't notice it.
Gary
Of
Barlow,
course I didn't notice him. I didn't notice Gary Barlow.
So, yeah. Well,
might have to Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something interesting I came
a little
across.
Bit of trivia?
Yeah, that's a good bit of trivia. Yes. So we've got Luke. What else we got? What else really bugged the crap out of you? What about Leia?
Yeah, so there was those bits. Sorry?
What about Princess Leia or Mary Poppins?
She's
allowed to be Mary Poppins now. She's in the Disney thing because Disney owned the rights to Mary Poppins, so they wouldn't have got sued. Hang on a second, that's fucking Mary Poppins. You can't have that.
Yeah, it was so Mary Poppins, it was ridiculous because you. Okay. So, if we're talking about what should have happened and what actually that shouldn't have happened, what shouldn't have happened is suddenly Leia decides that she can use the Force, because it's been made abundantly clear throughout the films prior to that she is Force sensitive, but she can't wield the Force.
Yeah.
Abundantly clear. And yes, it is also abundantly clear that the Force will manifest itself at different ages for different people. Hence Rey's late adaptation of the Force.
Yeah.
And sudden realisation that she can use it when she was captured. Yeah. But the fact that Leia was unconscious, in space, floating away from... Well, she should have been floating away because fucking gravity doesn't apply in space.
Yeah, there's no friction or anything like that.
Yeah, so the blast would have kept her moving at the same rate as it first initially started at. So she should have been fucking miles away from by the time she decided to use the Force. And pull herself back to the fucking ship. Nonsense. I know you want to kill off Leia because, well, the actress is dead. But then they didn't kill her off anyway. They made her alive again. But they should have... One thing they could have done is just let that be that.
Yeah.
Blame her up. Let that be that. She's dead. Leia's dead. Fine. You know, she went down with the ship. Well, the bridge. And another thing that you said possibly could have happened is... Because she's Force sensitive, she felt something was wrong, like she did with Han when he died, and I think she's also done it with was it Luke? And well, when something bad's gone wrong, she could feel it. She could have felt it that something was about to hit, and hid in a fucking closet, or hid in behind a
she turns around and goes,
or something.
She turns around and goes, "I'm just going after the crapper."
Or just announce to people, everyone hide, or everyone not hide, everyone grab onto something, or everyone, you know, get out of this room, you know, something like that, because she can feel that sort of shit. because they've shown that in previous films. So that was off. The way that torpedo thing was just going and going and going and going and going. They would have seen it. Even a normal person would have seen that a mile off. Yet nobody did shit. The systems would have been going mental, and she should have felt it. That something was wrong because she's fourth sense. Anyway, yeah, that whole bit was off. It was almost like they just wanted to make her feel more special than she actually is by having force powers now.
Yeah.
Because
so I always thought she had force powers, but they were like persuasion and the ability to get people to follow her and stuff like that. And I figured out that that's one of the reasons that she was such a good leader, because she had that just ability, so she could feel how people were using the force, so she could adapt herself to certain situations. If that makes any sense, because her dad was the guy from LA Law. Her dad was
Anakin Skywalker.
Not Anakin Skywalker, the one who looked after her. He was in charge of fucking Alderaan.
Lando?
Not Lando. I can picture him now. He's played by Jimmy Smits. And I can't remember the character's name for love nor fucking money. But her dad was a diplomat, long and the short of it.
Yes, he was, yeah.
Because he was like an ambassador. And because that's why she pulled the whole ambassador shit at the beginning of the A New Hope. Yeah, because her dad was an ambassador. And that kind of thing is like kind of, given that she knew she had force, not realising she could do all this stuff, and learning that, she could probably adapt to doing that job better. She was put in an environment where she would succeed a bit more, like, say, a fighter pilot sort of thing, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very odd.
Yeah.
I find it very odd. And, yeah, she's awake and stuff, isn't she's alive, sorry, now at the end of the film. So how are they going to get around that for the following film, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's one of those things. What else we got? Because you got Princess Leia, because you did the fucking Mary Poppins thing.
Yeah.
You got the stupid purple-haired commander, played by Laura Dern, which I've kind of felt was a bit of a disservice to the fucking actress, given the fact that we had a whole, how can I put it, the diversity hires went out and had an adventure which was absolutely fucking pointless, because that character didn't turn around and say, don't worry, everything's in hand. I've got a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Her whole attitude wouldn't fill anybody with confidence.
No. We're getting shot at.
Nobody.
We're getting picked off one by one. We haven't got a destination.
Oh.
We haven't got a fucking destination that you've told us.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was it.
What's going on?
Senator Leia was taken in by Senator Bail Organa.
Bail Organa, that was his name. Ah, yes, Organa, because she was Leia Organa.
Why couldn't I remember her? I was just thinking it's Leia Skywalker, but no, why can I not?
Because it wasn't. It's Leia Organa.
Leia Organa. Okay, so there you go. Anyway, back to
this stupid woman who pretty much destroyed the Resistance. It would have been a bigger twist if she turned around and she was the one who was leaking the coordinates of the fleet to the bad guys. That would have made her a lot more interesting, because the long and the short of it is...
Did they show who was leaking the coordinates to the bad guys?
They went onto the, old Snokey Pokey's Supreme, whatever it is, yeah? And it had a crystal thing that we were using to track here, which was behind like plate glass where the evil BB-8 stopped the what's his face?
Oh, they were using the main thing, weren't they? The main ship.
Yeah. To
track the fleet.
Just let me get this right. The one ship, they've got one ship on board it, yeah, which is tracking the entire fleet, yeah. So is that one ship capable of tracking everything that goes to hyperspace? Or FTL, right? Lightspeed. So whenever these fuckers go to lightspeed or whatever, is it capable of tracking all of them? Because I don't think it is. I think it's only capable of tracking one of them. They could have split up and cast themselves to the four winds.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. I didn't quite get what they were saying with the the reason how it tracked. I know the engineer woman came up with a theory, and the reason what they needed to do the pointless section over in whatever that planet was to find a data hacker to get onto the ship. That whole section felt completely pointless.
Okay. Any more before I start running on about Doctor Who?
Yeah. Okay. I've just got a couple of things that I'll touch on. I mentioned before Ray. I was hoping for a little bit more progression from Ray, and a little bit more of her learning how to use the Force, and even try and move boulders and move things with the Force and practice a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But we saw her practicing with her staff, and then we saw her practicing with the lightsaber and cut her rock in half. Oh, and she floated a little bit when she was with Luke. Other than that, she went into the abyss thing. That was a bit weird, but
the only thing I think was they wasted 2 opportunities. One was with her parents, which I imagine you've probably got in your notes, and I've ruined it. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, thank God for that. I was going to tread on your toes when I said that. So shit, I ran away with my mouth. There was that.
Parents' big mystery.
And then there's the bit where she should have teamed up with Kylo Ren and given us a fucking story.
Do you know what? The whole story could have been made better if Rey accepted Kylo Ren's proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they really could have. However, talking about that proposal, I have a point about that. I may or may not be wrong, but in that fight scene where Rey and Ben are fighting together against the Red Guard, the Empire's guard, why didn't they use Force powers? Why don't
why didn't use excessive? Because they did use a few bit of Force powers here and there. There were little bits of it, like pulling stuff and moving stuff around, but there wasn't like you're talking about. You're thinking of the Force Unleashed things where you could literally
just fucking push.
I've
got a weapon. I've got a weapon in their hand. I'll use the Force. I'll rip it out of their hand. It's or they're about to hit me. I'll use the Force and hold their arm up in the air. They fucking can't hit me. Oh look, I've stabbed you. You know, I know using Force powers would make fights against non-wielders so much quicker. However, it would be so much cooler.
Yes, it would.
Because it would make them seem a little bit more stronger, a little bit more formidable to fight against. And because at the moment, when they fight against people, you get a weapon which can fight against the lightsaber, like they did, and people aren't really bothered to fight against a Jedi or a Sith because they got a weapon. Yeah. They should make it a little bit more daunting to fight against the Jedi because they will use their Force powers on you as well. And you can't protect yourself against that unless you yourself are a Force wielder. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like Count Dooku against Yoda.
Yeah.
They literally say our powers are matched. We'll have to duke it out with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And, followed by Yoda jumping all over the fucking place. But shit like that bugs me when they don't use Force powers against people who don't have it.
Right, hang on a second. I'd just like to point out, me and Nigel had a chat before we started this. My voice is going. Me and Nigel had a chat when we sorted this out, and I said, Nigel, make sure you cover all the points that you want to cover. Just a quick one. Have you covered all the points that you want to cover in regards to Star Wars, or have you got a couple?
Right. Almost.
Okay.
One last one.
Because we wanted to
There was literally...
Go, hang on. I don't want to ruin this. Cause I'm going to stop you for a second. I said, got to make sure this isn't like a short, snappy podcast, yeah? We're on 40 minutes, Nige.
Are we? Well done for making it this far.
Oh, dear. So yes.
One last thing. There was no lightsaber battle at all.
No lightsaber to lightsaber battle.
Yes. None. They used lightsabers, but I was hoping for, a bit of lightsaber battle. We had it in The Force Awakens, Rey versus Ben, but not in this one. It was Rey plus Ben.
It's weird because I call him Kylo Ren and you call him Ben. Like you know him.
Because she calls him Ben.
No, it's like you know him, like he's your fucking mate or something. He goes, yeah, I'm going down a pub. We play football on a Tuesday. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. He does.
He's not bad. He cheats a bit.
Yeah, he does cheat a bit, especially like kind of like free kicks. He just moves the ball.
When someone's about to kick the ball, he moves it like an inch, and then you fluff it every time.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that was it.
That's it.
And the fact that the Asian lady fell in love with Finn within the space of 2 days.
I'll be honest with you. Out of all the unbelievable shit that went on in that film, that was the most believable thing. Yeah.
I know, but still, what the fuck?
No, seriously. She spends all her time down fucking in, how can I put it, the sewage works of that starship.
Engineering?
No, it's the sewage works.
He was sanitary.
No, she was too, okay?
So, that's why they've got an affinity.
Yeah, hang on a second. Well, no, she's got an affinity for him. I'm not sure if he's got it for her. Yeah?
No, he's clearly into Rey.
Yeah, he's clearly into Rey. I don't think... Rey don't need no
notices
man.
Him.
Yeah, she doesn't notice him, which I think is terrible. She'll find out with fucking Poe Dameron right at the end.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? She's like the pipe cleaner and whatnot. So she doesn't get to see many attractive people. First attractive bloke that pops down there. Oh, hello. You know, like it reminds me of the episode of Red Dwarf where they come across the Nova 5 and it turns out that, what do you call it? The crew are all dead, but Crichton sends them pictures of all these women, and it's like kind of, it's a rescue mission, we're not on the pool, and then they're all like dolling themselves up, and Rimmer's in his uniform looking like a fucking admiral, and the cat's like kind of freaking out because he's only got 8 hours to get ready where he needs 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that kind of, that's why I believe that part of it. But the bit at the end where she does the whole self-sacrifice thing, yeah, where he's about to, Finn may have saved the fucking film if he'd have self-sacrificed and blown up that fucking cannon, or she may have saved the film by her self-sacrificing and blowing up the cannon,
knocking him out of the way and going in herself. That's what I was expecting to happen.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought she was going to self-sacrifice her, whatnot. But it's like she leans over and goes, "Oh, it's about protecting the ones we love." Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to sound rude or anything. Yeah,
that's selfish.
That's really selfish because fucking there's 400 people back there who are going to get killed, and it turns out that doing what you did got more people killed and got the resistance to be able to, how can I put it, fit on the fucking Millennium Falcon. They're that small now. But hey,
well, another thing,
make it the last one, mate.
Yeah, Finn, in that scene, Finn was driving straight at the beam, straight up the middle of the beam, tearing his little craft apart. Whereas he could have been, what, 1.5 meters to the left or 1.5 meters to the right? Not in the beam, going faster. To get, and then coming in at last minute rather than travelling. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. The long and the short of it is they should have died in the crash. When they hit each other, they should have died because those things were fucking death traps.
They were, all those fucking old things, yeah. Definitely.
Alright, okay.
On the plus side, that whole area, that scene where that's set, is in Battlefront 2.
Is it?
Yeah, you can play it on Galactic Assault, I think it's called.
Cool.
Yeah, it's in. Yeah, you can play either side. Yeah. Anyway, right.
Alright, so, Doctor Who aired on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it on Christmas Day because I wasn't feeling very well, which wasn't fantastic. I wound up watching it on Boxing Day in the morning. And I liked the episode. There were some real heavy-handed PC bits in it, which I fucking hated. And Bill came back, and the first thing she did, "I'm a lesbian, do you remember?" That's a whole shtick. "I'm a lesbian, do you remember? I'm a lesbian. Hey, guess what? What? I'm a lesbian."
And the first Doctor was like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Along with Army Dude.
Yeah.
Was like,
it was that. But I thought it was a nice kind of contained story to send off Peter Capaldi with. There were things I liked about it because it was like kind of, there wasn't really a bad guy in it. Yeah, the whole crystal glassy woman was like part of a foundation. All they really did was just record memories at the time of death. Which kind of sound like the same group that the test selector was from one of the previous episodes of Doctor Who. It was weird because that was one thing. It was weird because you had the Doctor from the 60s and the I can't remember if he's a captain or not. We'll say the captain from the First World War, and they were shown to be kind of outdated in their concepts of like women and stuff like that. But
yeah, the
captain had a fucking sense of duty and honour. Yeah, the moment he heard that Doctor could have had his friend if they swapped him for the captain, he stepped out and turned around and said, "If that's the case, consider it done." Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to die anyway.
And he admitted to being terrified. Yeah, it was like, I was fine when I was in the thing because I knew it would happen any fucking second. Yeah, you've taken me out. I've got to return at one point. This is drawing out. This is like cruel and unusual punishment.
I now know this is going to happen. Whereas before there was a bit of uncertainty. We might have both put the guns down.
Yeah.
And just gone our separate ways, sort of thing.
Do you want his funny? The guy in the crater with him, the German who was pointing the gun at him, is one of the writers that was on Doctor Who, a guy called Toby Whitehouse, who is the person I was hoping would have been the next showrunner because he can write stories. Where they picked Chris Chibnall, who I'm severely worried about. Forget the fact that the Doctor's a woman; that doesn't matter anymore when you've got Chris Chibnall as a writer, because that's a bit more of a concern. But yeah, the whole thing. I like the bit where they meet each other, and you have that first scene where it starts off and it goes 709 episodes ago. Yeah, and it's like kind of they cut to the 10th planet episode where they first come across the Mondasian Cybermen, which are in the finale of the last series. And he morphs into Filch. I'm going to just call him Filch. David Bradley, the actor. I liked that where he kind of morphed into him and he was regenerating and that, and they walked out and kind of went and did the whole shebang thing where he goes into the TARDIS and he goes, "I've been burgled, mother." I wanted to turn around and go, "Motherfuckers, what have they done?"
Yeah.
And then he's like he's giving Pete Capaldi shit. He goes, "What's with the lighting?" He goes, "I can't see anything. It's like kind of it's atmospheric." He goes, this...
You're in a French restaurant?
Yeah, it's there. Thank you for stealing that from me. Because I'm in a bloody French restaurant, man. And then the thing with the brandy, which I liked, where he turns around and gets the brandy out, and it's like, it's a glass missing. Yeah, and then he gives it to the guy, and then they get into his TARDIS, and then they head off to go and see Rusty.
Yeah. Well, he also tells him, he goes, this is my TARDIS. He goes, yes. And he shows him the monitor, and he goes, that's your TARDIS. 75 yards that way.
Yes, I like
you need
that.
to remember where you park. Remember that, it's important.
It's going to come up in the future quite a bit. I like that. That was quite good. And he what do you call it? He has a thing with the brandy, which, where was I? Yeah, he takes it out and goes, some past it's like taking a glass out of this. He goes, I might have had a fucking drink, in the last 5,000 years or so.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was that he gets back to his TARDIS, gives him another drink, and as he pours him the other drink, he looks at the level and he goes, "Oh, that's where it went." So no one had drunk it. It'd been sitting in the TARDIS for God knows how long. No one had drunk it and he'd given it to him. I like that little. It's one of those little kind of touch things that I liked, opposed to the heavy-handed kind of political correctness kind of things. Because as I said before, it's like they said like wrong things, like the poly cleaner and ladies being made of glass and shit like that, and smack bottom reference. I actually kind of find that funny. Because he did sound like an old man from the 60s when he said that. He popped out the thing, he was like, "You're gonna smack bottom." It's like, alright, fair enough. It's like, I can remember being threatened with a smack bottom when I was a little sod. But it's one of those things that kind of is like kind of, what do you call it, kind of passed. And then they kind of resolved everything and they put the guy back where he was going to be, and they found out his name. Now, you don't watch Doctor Who as much as myself and Keith do, but there's a character who was in the third Doctor's appearance called Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, who was a very important character, and he like kind of ran all the way through the original series of Doctor Who until it ended, and then they kind of introduced his daughter in I can't remember, one of the ones with Matt Smith. So when he turned around and said his name was Archibald something Lethbridge Stewart, so I was like, shit. It's like, okay, technically he can die because you're going to do that. And he turned around and said, can you look after pop in and check on my family? And it's like kind of, well, Peter Capaldi's doctor says, I've already done that already.
He goes, you can consider that done.
Yeah, which I like the idea of. And then the fact that
I sat there looking, going, well, he must have been a person that they've seen at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then they return into the crater and they change the time and they go to one of the points in history that I found and I still find fascinating, when they had the Christmas Day armistice during the First World War.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of, I knew when it was going to be the First World War they're going to do the Christmas Day armistice, because it's one of those things, there's a point where it kind of like everyone just went, this war stuff's all bollocks. Yeah. Talk and chat, and then it had the thing where he's sitting there and goes, can I hear carols like that? And then the German guy's like kind of, I think you can hear carols, even though I can't understand a word you're saying. And then the English or the British side start doing the same thing too, and then everyone just stops. And then it was just a wonderful thing, because this thing actually happened in real life.
Yeah, it did.
And having that happen was like kind of one of those little moments, seeing that little moment in time. And I thought that was, I enjoyed that bit. I kind of felt, I'm quite humbled to see, something like that. And it was one of those things that I thought was good. And then he went through the whole dying thing where Bill turns up. Just before I go, remember, I'm a lesbian. Nardole, I'd give him a big hug and whatnot, and she gives...
Yeah, and Nardole goes, he goes, he didn't get my hair right though. And Bill looks at him and goes, you don't have any hair. And he goes, my hair's invisible.
That's the excuse I'm going to make when I go bald. It's invisible hair.
I've got invisible hair. I thought, okay. No, I like that. Yes. And then he leans in for the hug and he goes, huggles.
Yes, he does his cuddles. And it was like the kind of, now I'm completely made of glass. It's not just my nipples. Which I thought was a very funny throwaway comment. And then Watson-Wish gives him his memories of Clara back, which he erased from him, which was nice. So he kind of put that kind of reset on there, and then he turns around and goes, I've got to do this on my own. And then Peter Capaldi did what I think he's done the best out of any of the Doctors, is run around the TARDIS on his own, talking to himself. He's really good at that. That's the one thing I'm going to remember him for, is the fact that he could tell a story or explain something in the TARDIS on his own, and it was brilliant. Just watching him on his own, just walk around, doing that stuff. So he did, did the whole thing. Don't never be cruel, cowardly, always be kind, try to be nice, which was one of these things. And it was really, I was really kind of touched by the whole thing. Yeah, and then he turned into Jodie Whittaker, and she went, oh, brilliant. Oh, like that. And I'm like, oh, shit.
What have they done?
It's the way she said, brilliant, yeah? Because she said, brilliant, like some gormo. And I'm hoping it was just the way she was caught on camera that day for filming, and it might not be the case.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was one of those things. She just did that, and then she fell out of the TARDIS. And one of the things I heard about the new series is going to be Doctor Who TARDIS free. And when I heard that, I was like, that's going to be a bit shit, isn't it?
Why is it no TARDIS?
I don't know.
The TARDIS is like the central...
It's the plot device that moves him from one planet to a fucking another. I don't know. We'll wait and see, but that's what I heard, and that's what it looks like, because she fell out the TARDIS, and then the TARDIS then disappeared somewhere.
It looked like it was all blowing up inside.
Yeah, it looked like I'm fucking off. It's like he spat her out for all intents and purposes. Yeah. I don't like you.
One thought that went through my mind when he was starting to regenerate. I was sitting there going, why is it whenever they regenerate, why do they take their TARDIS up into space and whatnot and do it there? Why don't they park it on the floor somewhere? Yeah. So if something happens and the new person who takes over, like Capaldi was, he was a little bit nuts and trying to find himself.
Yeah.
Wasn't he, when he regenerated? Why don't they do that? Because, you know, she immediately went, oh, brilliant, and then fell out of TARDIS. Yeah, well, she hits the floor and then regenerates to somebody else. That would be the greatest thing.
That would be fantastic. It'd be like, kind of, fooled you. And it's like, kind of, she was the Doctor for all of a minute.
That was a minute. Yeah, well done. The shortest Doctor ever.
She's got another Doctor now. Yeah. So, anyway, the other thing too is, you've seen David Tennant regenerate?
No.
I'll have to show you the picture of David Tennant regenerating, because he regenerates in the TARDIS, yeah? And he fucks the TARDIS. Literally, I know they pretty much destroyed the set because they were getting a new set, yeah? And it was like, okay, fair enough, they're destroying the set because they're getting a new set. But the new set that they've got, that one with all the big fucking rotatey shit above it, yeah? That's like a fucking £9 million set. Yeah? That's got all lot of stuff in it. That's why they do lots of. That's why they can do lots of lovely filming inside it and all this other stuff. Is because they spent a lot of bloody money on it. They can shift things out and swap it all over and do stuff with it. But they spent a lot of money on that as a set, because it's like, well, we spend a majority of our time filming here, so we might as well spend some money on it. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. What did you think of it? Sorry, I've rattled on. I know you rattled on for 45 fucking minutes.
Yeah, I did. It was meant to be short. Yeah, I didn't mind, actually. I quite like the fact that he was seeing his first his first self. Before his first regeneration. They were wandering around together, and yeah, I like the concept of it. At first I thought it was a bit slow, but then I like the fact that they showed the episode for the old, like, 706 episodes ago. They integrated that in from black and white, brought it to the fore, and they chose Filch because he does look like him.
He does do a good William Hartnell, yeah.
He really does look like him, and I thought that was really good. I quite like the storyline. You did get a feeling when they were in the trench. You did wonder what was going to happen between those two. If they both just don't speak each other's languages, and in that situation you would do that. You would just sit there with your gun cocked and ready, just in case he fires, so you can fire back. And you don't know if you were to put your gun down, he might not put his gun down, sort of thing. So yeah, I completely believe that. Yeah, I did like it. I did like that episode. I've not been a big I've not been a big Star Wars.
Don't talk about Star Wars. We're done with Star Wars. We're done.
It's on my fucking brain. I've not been a big Doctor Who fan this season because
Bill,
it started to really bore me, so I stopped.
Yeah, I can understand. There were some howlers in there.
Yeah, it really did bore me, and so I'd stopped watching it. So I watched this one. I didn't know Bill had died.
Oh, so that's spoiler warning.
Yeah, didn't know she died. When I found out, I couldn't care because she was a pointless companion anyway. Really, to be fair, she didn't really help him. She didn't really get him to move along with things. She just asked pointless questions, really, and that was her thing. So, yeah, I liked it. I liked the episode. It's good.
Good.
Pacing was pretty good. I like the fact he went to Dalek land to look at thing.
It's a reference from the very first episode that Stephen Moffat wrote for Doctor Who. There were what do they call it? The gardens, not the gardens, the forges of Vilheim or something, which is where Jack Harkness got his sonic gun from, and where he got the idea from the sonic screwdriver from, apparently, and he blew it up and replaced it with a banana plantation. Which just a bit of fun trivia there for you.
Okay.
All right. So Netflix, Bright. I watched Netflix's Bright on Boxing Day, and I quite liked it. Okay, it wasn't brilliant, it wasn't fantastic, but considering I didn't go to the cinema to pay for the fucking thing, I think I got my money's worth out of it.
And so it's a film, it's not a series?
It's a one-off film for Christmas Day. They did one last year about killer ghosts, which I actually really enjoyed too. Spectre, I think they called it.
Right. Is that army one?
Where the army guys go into this thing because there's something killing people off and it can't be seen with human naked eye.
And they get that person in who built a special thing that
allows them to
or something.
see,
yeah, I watched that. I quite like that.
Yeah, I like that too. It was good because I love the fact that they were 3D printing these ghosts. They had their big machine just 3D printing these ghosts, and it's like the machine could see it, and they got up and fucked off. And then they turned up, and they just were like kitted to the fucking max, which was really... MacGyver couldn't have pulled off that fucking stunt towards the end, where he had literally made weapons for everyone that worked. If MacGyver wouldn't have done that. But anyway, go back to Bright. Sorry. Bright is really weird. Imagine that Lord of the Rings actually happened like 4,000 years ago.
Okay.
All right. And then after that, we kind of, as human civilization built up alongside the elves and the orcs and stuff. But instead of Middle Earth, it was the whole fucking planet. Yeah?
Yeah.
The quickest way of describing it. So it's like a sequel to Lord of the Rings. Because I spoke to my brother, and my brother turned around and said, it was a bit, how can I put it? It was a bit difficult for people to understand. But anyway, they've got this thing, and they're in the United States, and they're like in a dodgy kind of
precinct.
Yeah, well, I was going to say area. Like to patrol and stuff. So somewhere like kind of Baltimore.
And he's the first orc police officer, isn't he?
Yes. It turns out that you've got Will Smith, who plays a guy called Ward. He's an awkward copper. Yeah, he's just holding on to retirement. He goes, I just do 5 more years. I can collect my pension. I can get another job, and we can fuck off out of this shithole. Yeah, to his wife at the beginning.
Right, yeah.
And then you've got this Jacoby guy, who is he's the first orc on the force. He's a bit slow, but I don't know if it's because maybe that's how all orcs are supposed to come across. And he's extremely, well intended. But it starts off, Will Smith gets shot by an orc in a shop. And it's funny seeing this great big fucking orc come out with a shotgun and go, "Die, piggy!" And shoot him. But he's got like a bulletproof vest and it's a shotgun. Anyway, the guy escapes. And everyone's worried that the Jacoby character let him go. So he's got this kind of thing hanging over him. And then Ward apparently has got this thing hanging over him. Nobody likes him in the police station. Everyone thinks he's an utter arsehole. And the only reason he's teamed up with Jacoby is because no one else wants to be teamed up with him too. So these two people like made for each other practically. You've got one guy who's a complete arsehole and this newbie who no one wants to do, and they kind of want to get him kicked out. Anyway, the setup for the story is that they found that there's this coven of elves trying to get their hands on like 3 wands. And elves are like kind of the Hollywood kind of higher class, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like they're trying to get these 3 elves to this coven, who's led by, I always call her Naomi Recompense because I can't remember her name. And they're trying to get this thing to resummon the Dark Lord. So, for all intents and purposes, they're trying to bring Sauron back. It's the easiest way of saying it. And apparently, only certain people can handle wands, yeah? And these people are called Brights. Okay, hence the name of the title. So you get elvish Brights and human Brights, but you don't get orcish Brights. So you kind of go through this thing, and people pick up the wand, and then they fucking explode, and this, that, and the other happens. Anyway, they get a call out, and they find out that this coven has come under attack, and they've been using this wand. So they find the wand and that, and as soon as the guy finds the wand, he's like, "Shh!" Ward, this is the Will Smith character, finds the wand. He's like, "Oh shit! This is not going to be good. This is not a magical item. We've got to call the Federal Bureau of Magic." I think it's the Federal Bureau of Magic, but it sounds like the Ministry of Magic in
Ministry of Magic, yeah,
in Harry Potter. And it's like, kind of, we've got to call them in for that. We've got to get the feds to deal with this, as he says. And it's like, kind of, no, we have to. This guy turns, the orc turns around and says, no, we have to protect this ourselves, yeah, because we can't hand this off to anyone. Anyway, they go outside, and it turns out that all the cops have decided to turn against him, so they can hand in this wand. And Ward turns around and figures out that they're going to get shot, and they're both going to get killed, one way or another, yeah. They're going to kill the orc guy because they don't fucking like him, and they're going to kill Ward to make sure they cover up the fact that they took the wand, because they can sell it and get money and this, that, and the other, and lots of corrupt things. And he turns around and he shoots the coppers, and then from that point, it turns into this fucking chase for ages through the streets of this district of LA or wherever it is, and they get chased by like Puerto Rican kind of gangsters and these elfish people from this coven and some orc kind of gangsters and stuff like that. And they kind of go do all this thing to kind of find out where the wand, who's got the wand and that, and lots of other things kind of ensue. And I don't want to ruin it, but I'm trying to tell you the story at the same time too, which I think I've done a real shit effort.
So, in short,
go on, summarise, translate it for me.
So, in short, how do you feel? Do you feel the story arc is good?
Yeah, I felt the story arc
was good. Good pacing.
It was. I felt that it was fairly good pacing. They were trying to put some metaphors across with kind of black and foreign people with it, and it just wasn't working in my eyes. But if I forgot about that and just thought of Lord of the Rings, everything started working. And I know. So
in summary,
yeah,
just close your eyes and think the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So it's a sequel to Lord of the Rings in modern day.
Yeah.
I think you'd enjoy it. I genuinely think you'd enjoy it, because you'd probably enjoy it more than you would enjoy Spectre. The Spectral. That was it. Spectral. That was it.
It might be spelled Spectral.
Sure, it's Spectral now. You'd probably enjoy it more than I. So you'd probably enjoy it more than you would Spectral, where I'm the kind of person who enjoys Spectral more because I'm kind of into that stuff, and you're kind of into your orcs and elves and all that shite.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think I will have a look at that. Yeah. So definitely, what would you rate it out of 5?
10.
Right, 10.
Because everything always wants to get the same fucking score otherwise. Out of 10, I'd give it 6, almost 7.
Well, sort of. Yeah.
6, almost 7. It's not. As I said, it's not great, but it is worth a watch, I feel.
Cool. So I'll do that then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hopefully have a watch of that in the next few days.
I think Ying might like it, because she likes dragons and shit.
Yeah.
Or is it just you?
It might just be me. I don't know.
All right. So that wraps up our first podcast of 2018. Oh shit, man, we're getting old.
Getting on.
Yeah. So this is our last podcast. Our fucking last podcast. Our first podcast. Our first podcast of 2018. Thank you very much for listening. It's goodbye from me.
Yeah, it's goodbye from me.
And we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Bye bye.
Thanks for downloading the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. You can follow us on Twitter @MonkeyNutPunch. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/MonkeyNutPunch.